stand for the pledge of the flag, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, welcome everyone to our November 1st, 2017 meeting. Thank you all for coming. Commissioner Jablonski is under the weather tonight. She's got a sinus infection, and she made us all aware that she is doctoring as we speak. We have a motion to approve the minutes of October 18th. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the minutes? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Financial report and payment of the bills. Do we have a motion?
Second.
And a second. Any discussion on the financial report? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Will we have an employee of the quarter presentation? But,
2 seconds and see.
okay.
We're looking for it.
Well, that's what I was wondering. If we can wait.
Shell's track them down.
All right, see out there? Earl, would you like to sing a song for us all?
No, I've handed that off to John.
Congratulations, John, for third place finish last night in the karaoke championships. World champion karaoke singer right there, front row. Everybody?
Thank you.
He was as Elvis Presley last evening. The king.
Good job.
Hey, wonder if he's in the building. If he's not in the building, then we'll just conduct our regular business. Frank?
Got tangled up with the Redskins out there.
Oh, did he?
He's a Redskin.
All right, very good. Okay. All right, fantastic.
The town of Elkton hereby recognizes and applauds Mr. Frank Lewis, Department of Public Works, as the third quarter employee of the quarter. Mr. Lewis has worked with the Department of Public Works since 2009, and during that time has become a valued member of the DPW scene and a valued asset to the town of Elkton as a custodian, primarily responsible for maintaining DPW headquarters and supplementing custodial work at the Elkton Municipal Building. In August, Mr. Lewis accepted the challenge of fully maintaining both DPW headquarters and the Elkton Municipal Building while the full-time custodian was on extended leave. Mr. Lewis' performance was not only outstanding, but accompanied by a smile and a willingness to overcome and adapt to the maintenance needs of these facilities, including assisting the Department of Parks and Recreation efforts to restore Elkton Municipal Building following a 12-week summer camp program, which involved an extensive amount of work in the wake of the building's intensive use by Parks and Recreation staff and some 80 children enrolled in this year's program. Mr. Lewis is sincerely appreciated by his fellow workers and demonstrates the type of conduct that all public employees should aspire. We thank and hereby recognize him as our employee reporter.
Very good.
Okay, Redskin.
You got your hammer? You don't have your hammer. Frank, congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Certificate of recognition. We want to get you right here in the center of us. Lewis is going to take a photograph of us.
Sorry, Nikon's in the shop, so I had to break down and use a phone.
All right, this is good. This will work out well.
Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Think Redskin. Think 49.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, buddy. You just got me close. Yeah.
Well deserved.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, Lou, you're on.
Here you are, sir.
Oh, what in the world? Oh, you got me, sir. Hey, man.
A waiver of parking meter enforcement, asking the board to take action to approve waiving of parking meters, it's paid meters, between the date of November 23rd and January 2nd, 2018.
Very good. Would the board like to move forward to waive the parking meter enforcement for the holidays from November 23rd through January 2nd? We'll send them away on vacation. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Very good. They're on vacation as of November 23rd.
Okay, the next item I have municipal government works proclamation, municipal government works. This is an annual thing we do for the Maryland Municipal League. The proclamation of the Mayor and Commissioner of the Town of Elkton declaring the month of November 2017 Municipal Government Works Month with the Town of Elkton, Maryland. Whereas the Town of Elkton was established as Cecil County's seat in 1787 and has evolved as Cecil County's largest and most progressive municipality. And whereas the Elkton joined 156 other municipalities in Maryland who proudly serve their respective residents and business communities. And whereas the municipal government represents the most responsive level of government, allowing citizens direct access to their elected officials, observe the operations of their government, and benefit from any services provided by their government. And whereas in an effort to educate citizens about municipal government and the importance of their participation, the Town of Elkton is proud to promote municipal government awareness. And whereas municipalities have enhanced the quality of life of their respective residents by providing essential government services, maintaining access to safe drinking water and providing wastewater treatment, maintaining parks and supporting recreational activities, promoting economic development and job opportunities, and supporting local business along with providing many other services and opportunities that help make Maryland a great place to live, work, and enjoy. Now therefore be it proclaimed, the Mayor and Commission of the Town of Elkton hereby proclaim the month of November 2017 as Municipal Government Works Month for the Town of Elkton.
Fantastic. Do we have a motion to accept the proclamation for Municipal Government Works Month?
That's all good.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, the next item I have, the town advertised bids for the Route 40 Extension Project. This is a water line we're extending from Wilson Avenue along the north side of Route 40 to the south side of Route 40, approximately 750 linear feet down to the border or the property line of the shops of Elkton and Lytle U.S. operations. First bid is by a company called Dorado Construction Company LLC. Dorado bids $418,480.38.
What was that again?
$418,480.38. Next bid is by Rebold Construction. Rebold bids $395,138. $395,138.
What was the engineering estimate on this? Was there one?
The construction estimate by the engineer was $378,415. $378,415.
Do you want us to make a recommendation for
I'll
Raybold?
make a tentative award to Rebold Construction LLC, contingent on a review, and I will review that, and if it's okay with you, notice of award, so we get that project moving.
Very good. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second, any discussion about this water line extension? Hearing none? All in favor? Motion carries.
That's it for me, thank you.
Very good. Let's see, I had a few things as, I'm going to get Michelle to turn the projector on for us. But want everyone to know the town of Elkton is now accepting credit cards. We are now accepting Visa, MasterCard, and Discover, which is a long time coming.
I want to compliment the, Mr. Repole and his finance team. They worked diligently to try to get that through, and it was not an easy task, you know, with some of the companies involved.
Yes, that's for sure.
He did a great job.
I'll
Get a little bit on that.
Even when he thought it was impossible.
Pretty close to it, wasn't it, huh?
The, a couple of the other things I just wanted to touch base on real quickly. The Armory, just to keep us in the update here, Lou, I've seen the emails going back and forth the last couple of days. The Armory has been decommissioned, but we're still a ways away from, the latest email I saw this morning was that someone from the,
Department of General Services?
they gotta get the appraisals done
Yes.
on the property.
It's in the clearinghouse process, but the Maryland Military Department owns the Armory until that clearinghouse process has been concluded, and the appraisals have been done, and the offer's gone out, and until it's actually acquired or sold by the state. It has to go through a number of steps, as you will.
And we have asked, I saw the email where we've asked for permission to use the facility, but no one's gotten back to us.
Yes, we wanted to use the gym to set up a youth basketball
Yes,
game over there and see how it functions.
yes, that's correct.
That's what we want to do. We're working on that.
Okay, very good. All right. You had a meeting on Monday with the state highway in regards to the silt at Delaware Avenue.
Yes.
And can you update the board a little bit on that?
Well, their chief of their division for hydraulics came up along with a contingent and along with the district engineer, the local maintenance engineer, and several other people, and Brian Morgan from KCI, Dan and Sheen and I, we all met down there at the bridge. And I gave them kind of an illustration of what the project looked like back in 2005, September, after they had performed the second dredging and would clear all that out. And of course, since that time, there probably have been several thousand cubic yards of sediment that have built an island there. They were very helpful in trying to explain the dynamics of the stream and why the sediment's there and on and on and on. But I don't know if they'll do another dredging project. I didn't get that favorable opinion from them at that point in time. It was actually some rating. About 15 feet on each side of the bridge is probably the extent of the right-of-way. And the island probably is beyond the right-of-way, so they probably wouldn't tackle a project like that. And if the town wanted to do it, we would apply for a joint permit with MDE and the Corps of Engineers, because if anyone's from Elkton is familiar with that area, it's tidal up to that bridge.
Yes.
So it would come under the jurisdiction of the Corps of Engineers in addition to MDE. But the town could apply for that work to remove that sediment if the board wants to, pursue that project.
And the latest on the pedestrian bridge, I know it probably wasn't,
Yes, it came up in discussion, additional letter of map revision. KCI submitted quite a bit of information data to FEMA, or their consultant for that, and they came back and needed additional information, and that's since been given to them. So it's now in FEMA's consulting group's hands, so to speak, and we'll we should get a response before too long, I think, and then I'll get back to the board on that.
Very good.
So, can I ask a question?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, in your meeting, and they explained to you how all this has occurred, I mean, did it come out that it's because of the bridge?
Well, I try to emphasize, because the piers are in the stream, that I believe that when high flow through that stream has created turbulence by the piers that are actually embedded in the stream. And that leads to the deposition of sediment on the downstream side. They didn't disagree with that necessarily, but because the bridge is structurally sound, it was built in 1932, structurally sound, the state highway does not have plans to replace that bridge. But if they did replace the bridge, it wouldn't be designed like that. It would be a span that would eliminate the piers in the thing, in the stream. But it's structurally sound, and they weigh the use of that bridge against all the other bridges in Maryland. And I emphasize that our police department, I don't know, 5 years ago or so, maybe longer, we did a traffic study. We put a device in the roadway to measure traffic, and for one day, I think we had 8,000 cars that went
Hard to
across that
believe.
bridge. That was an incredible amount of traffic goes
Right.
across that bridge. So we'll see what happens.
So what's the feasibility or possibility of us pursuing the dredging? Is that,
Well, of course, we've applied for a permit, and as long as we met all the criteria with the Corps and the MDE, they would probably grant a permit to do it.
they would?
Probably, yes.
So then it would just be a matter of manpower?
It'd be equipment and manpower. It wouldn't necessarily be an easy project, because the island is so extensive, the amount of cubic yards of material that has to be removed, and the access to it might be problematic, because you couldn't access the island from the bridge itself, the bridge deck. You'd have to create a solid way of accessing it with equipment along the stream bank. The stream bank is full of sediment, is not very strong, so it might have to be reinforced somehow. And in order to remove any sediment from the stream, we have to build coffer dams and construct that and keep them in place until all the sediment's removed and bring the coffer dam down. Just like we do at Park Creek, we do the same thing there, because this would be much more extensive than that.
I wish we could do it instead of state highway bill.
Well, we could send this bill.
Wouldn't that be nice?
It would be.
I'm serious.
Any other questions?
No, thank you.
But I think that we will address that as we move forward with the joint permit. We met last week, staff had a meeting in regards to the smart meters, and just to bring the board up to date with that, I believe that after we left the meeting, we're going to try to do a little pilot ourselves in an area or two. Is that how we kind of left that?
So we're going to order meters, and we're going to try a pilot program to kind of gauge the effort necessary to change out all those meters. And that way we could have something, at least a baseline for, going ahead with the 6,000 some other meters. I think it'd be a good idea. We could do it ourselves, so it wouldn't be an expense to the, additional expense to the customers.
So I'm anxious to see that plan as soon as we can get that to exactly where, I know it's going to be, we were looking at the Lansing Village with the Target project, and I think that would go a long way. We did receive we've never really received a quotation on the total amount of the project, but we received a quotation on how much it would cost to get to that point, let's put it that way. So we're going to try to see if their numbers, by the town of Elkton doing that, we want to make sure that their numbers are in line, per se. So I think it's a good move that we're doing that. Let's see, we addressed all those. Michelle, can you turn the projector on? I want to show the county economic development slides that we had. This morning I met with the county economic development committee. There's about 40 members at the event, and I just went through, I gave them a fairly It was about a 45-minute presentation, but of course, I'm going to give everyone here the Reader's Digest version of that. Will be done in no more than 4 or 5 minutes, but I just wanted to show everyone what I presented to the Cecil County Economic Development Group today. This update, just kind of starting off, I just wanted to, as I did at the meeting, I talked about the town of Elkton being close to 17,000 residents of our town. We're about 8.5 square miles of land volume, and to put that in perspective, we're a little bit larger than the city of Newark when it comes to land mass. I also talked about our financial condition of the town, talked a little bit about where we are today. But what you see up on the screen right now, there's about the next 5 sets of slides are new properties or new businesses that have came into Elkton or coming into Elkton. So we went over each and every one of these properties. These businesses have happened over the last year to 2 to 3 years. Now, when you get into the Elkton Ford, the Hertridge Chrysler, and the Ramsey, these are probably started about 3 years ago, this part of the project. So if you continue to scroll, we've got the Freightliner, the Hardee's, the Simply Savory, the Main Street Pizza. These are all fairly new. We've got the Oncology Center at the hospital, and also the urgent care, which has happened in the last year. So as you can see, there's been a lot of action as far as new businesses coming into our community. So as we scroll down, you'll continue to see some ribbon cuttings that we participated in, the Sue's Quilt Shop, the coffee shop, Edward Jones going on to Main Street, so forth. We had a ribbon cutting at the tavern, the Flame Kebab. We were very happy to get the Cohen's Furniture coming into our community. But it's a nice little presentation that Gene Minner helped put together, showing how much action that we've actually had in our town over the last 2 to 3 years. And we kind of ended up the photographs with the Cecil County tourism offices, which are now here on Main Street. You can go to the next slide. Planned businesses that we have moving forward. We've got 2 breweries looking at coming into Elkton. We've got a Showcase on Main. We've got the Walmart Academy. The Walmart Academy is an 8,000 square foot building. It's going to be placed within the footprint of Walmart, and it's going to be a training facility for Walmart employees from around the country. So if anyone's looking for work, this is the area that you can go and get trained to learn a skill. Also we have the Warner Road mini warehouses project, and we've got the Elkton Housing Authority project that we've been talking about for some time. Go ahead. Public improvements that the town of Elkton has been involved in over the last several years. Just in the last year, we built 2 new wells. Well 2, which is over in Holly Hall, and then we got well 5, which is by the treatment plant. And well 5, you can see it in action as they were actually digging the well.
She liked that picture.
We also have put in a dog park, a new playground on East Meadow Park, and we've also, of course, what we all are aware, we did the solar panel farm about 2.5 years ago. The town of Elkton also received a grant to redo the parking lot, and that's behind Minnehanes is what we'll say that we'll call that. And we also have some charging stations for electric cars, which we're one of the only areas that has that. The Rain Garden project, we partnered with the Fair Hill Nature Center as well as with the Elkton High School when we build a rain garden, which will help our stormwater runoff from going directly into the Elk River. These are a couple projects we just finished, the sidewalk improvements on 213, and of course the roundabout up near Patriots Glen off of Muddy Lane, which is probably an inconvenience for 60 days, but I can tell you it's what a wonderful project. It's going to save a lot of lives.
Yes.
We'll talk about our cleanup of our homeless encampments here at the next presentation, which we'll show here very shortly. You can scroll up. And then we got some planned improvements. We're moving forward in the town of Elkton to make Elkton a camera-friendly place. We're 8.5 square miles. I don't know if we'll ever get the cameras throughout the whole 8.5 square miles, but we're going to start in the business district and we're going to work our way out. But we're going to have camera-friendly Elkton. We're also working on the pedestrian plan. We're working on the pedestrian bridge. We just received a grant for $135,000 to do the improvements at Town Square, which is right in the heart of town. We also just received a $50,000 facade grant program on top of the, I think it was close to $350,000 we've already received over the last X amount of years. We're continuing to move forward with the boardwalk on the Big Elk Creek in Marina Park. That whole project's coming along very nicely. We have other projects that we're working on. The Elkton Rec Center, we're still moving forward with that project, even though we're slow as molasses. The Elkton Armory we talked a little bit about. About 6 months ago, I talked about the Sportsplex project. This is not dead. We're still moving forward with that project. And then, of course, the passenger rail service, which we're begging for. I'd love to see that MARC train stopping back here in Elkton. Other accomplishments that we've done, we're accredited again on the Main Street program. We've renewed our hub service. That's a zone status, the hub zone status. That's where you can get tax breaks if you're in a certain area. We've expanded our enterprise zone, which gives tax breaks to individuals that want to build in those areas. We got a redesignation for the Arts and Entertainment District. We've had a couple promotional videos that the town of Elkton has done. We've also, probably one of the key points that I want to stress on is that our crime in the town of Elkton has decreased over a 5-year average in 2016 by, I think, over 10%. I think we put 10% as the number, but I think it's actually over. And then, of course, I finished up with the We Are Elkton. I gave the real quick Reader's Digest version of what I presented this morning, which took about 40 minutes, and I was a little bit more in tune with it, but I think it was well received for our community. You can go right onto the encampments. I wanted to give a update on the encampments in the town of Elkton.
Which one do you want to?
I want to start off with the Big Elk Mall. And I want, go ahead and you can put the first picture up there. And Chief, I'm going to call on you to kind of lead us into how we've orchestrated this and kind of where we're at.
Yeah, sure.
Go ahead.
Okay, all right, great. Okay, the cleanup of town of Elkton owned property began in earnest on October 12th. The first action taken was on property located behind the Big Elk Mall, and that property is actually part of Middle Park West.
And excuse me, Chief, I'm going to have Michelle go ahead and click the slides as you're speaking.
Okay.
And you can see this is before the cleanup.
Okay. All right.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
Posting was done to inform persons who were on the property that they would have to vacate the site within 72 hours or face possible charges of trespassing. After the area was posted on October 16th, the Department of Public Works initiated the cleanup of that property. In doing so, several large 30-yard dumpsters were filled with trash and numerous other debris found around the area. Also, all persons affiliated with the site were provided with information about numerous services available via state and county service agencies, most located right here in Elkton. All persons who were notified of the 72-hour notice did comply. And I have a card, and you have a card also,
Yeah.
Mayor, that we hand out to the folks when we go out and post the areas. And in fact, just for clarification purposes, we actually provide the card even before we go out and post, because what we do is representatives from the police department, Department of Public Works, and some of the social service agencies will go out prior to us posting, and we'll let them know that we're actually going to come out and post the area. They'll have to vacate. It's at that time that assessment is done DPW does an assessment to see how much manpower and equipment they'll need. We do an assessment to see how many signs we think we're going to need to post. And then whichever service providers are with us, they're doing their assessment of needs of some of the individuals who are applicants so they can offer appropriate services. On October 19th, additional town-owned property was posted and ultimately cleared, and that property is located at Marina Park. And again, several large 30-yard.
I'm going to need you to stop there for real quick.
Okay.
So the Big Elk Mall, we took, Dan, was it 8:30?
I got numbers.
Okay, if you could tell us those, please.
Big Elk Mall to date, 44.30 tons of trash, tons.
Okay. That was the number. So as you can continue to see in these photographs, now, Michelle, keep clicking, and I'm going to show you what behind the Acme looks like today. Okay, here's one of our first shots that we have. But this is behind, this is what you just saw. This is what it looks like today.
Two I have are.
I didn't show that. Okay, let's go on to Marina Park. We can go on to Marina Park now.
Okay, in the Marina Park, again, we basically repeated our actions that we took behind the Big Elk Mall. The area was posted, 72 hours notice was given that the site was going to be cleared. On October 23rd, Department of Public Works began cleanup. Again, numerous dumpsters at that location were filled with trash and other waste materials. And again, after posting that area, most of the folks that were there did comply with our wishes that they vacate the property, and they did so accordingly.
Okay, so this is Marina Park before. Now this is after. I applaud our Public Works Department. When we start, and of course, we're working, go ahead and talk about Cow Pond currently. No, I don't need to see those photos.
Yeah, just, we're taking the identical action in each location. Before we post, we're sending a contingent of personnel out to let any folks know they're on the, camping on the specific area, the area in question, that we are going to come out and post and it's going to have to vacate. Some of the other areas that we are going to be clearing or have cleared are behind the Royal Farms in 213. There's town-owned property there. To the rear of Friendship Road, at the end of Cox's Lane, and Meadow Park East and its contiguous acreage which borders part of the Cow Pond, Grays Hill, Continental Drive, and some other neighborhoods. So it's a pretty expansive area back there, but there are fewer sites in that area.
And Dan, what's the current total amount of trash so far, including the Big Elk Mall, the Marina Park, and I know you just started on the hatchery area.
I gotta add real quick, hold on. 63.53 tons, but I still have, good lord, I still got like 70%, I still got 30% left at the Marina Park. I got a big pile I gotta get to, so I'm expecting at least another 20 tons, about 15 tons out of that minimum, so.
That's fantastic. One of the questions that always comes up is this came up to this board, is well, what's happening? You know, where's the unsheltered residents going? And I think that's a concern for all of us. We certainly, this board cares. That's why we're going through the process the way that we're doing it. We're trying to do it in a humanitarian effort to make sure that all of us can work together as a team here. We've identified partners in this, and I have to take my hat off to the meeting ground. I have to take my hat off to the Paris Foundation, the Health Department, and Social Services. They've been working together with our police department and our Public Works Department during this whole process. We have, at the Big Elk Mall, and I think this is probably the most important numbers that we need to know, is that prior to this, the Health Department mentioned to us, I think in their report, I think it was 50 or 52 unsheltered residents in all these areas collectively in the town of Elkton. What we found when we're going through our camps is that we have seen that there may be 15 tents behind the Big Elk Mall, but I think that there was, how many active? Can you give me that, for example?
We have about 35 to 40 people in total so far that we believe have been impacted. And I think there's maybe about 16 to 20 that were actually behind Big Elk Mall.
And now here's the most important part. If we didn't do anything, there probably wouldn't be any change in any of our actions. But what we found is that we've been able to, can you give that information? How many people have we been able to get out of the, let's say get out of the woods?
Yeah, sure. Well, we don't have an exact number of how many people we've actually got out of the woods, so to speak, but we know as of this afternoon, it looks like about 15 of approximately, we'll say for round numbers, say 45 people that we've encountered this far. About 15 persons have been helped in some way, shape, or form. And I got it broke down here. I'm not going to give any names or anything like that, but 2 people told us that they were leaving the area. They had jobs out of state, and they needed funding for an airplane ticket. And they were going out west, I believe, to New Mexico. Three persons were able to find housing locally. 2 were waiting placement in an apartment. 2 men accepted services offered to them by a Cecil County men's shelter. A man with a teenage son has found work since the beginning of this process, and he and his son will be moving into an apartment. A woman with 2 children was assisted by the Health Department and Social Services and placed into housing. They got her an apartment. And a woman in recovery was also offered housing by the Health Department and Social Services. And of course, there are some who simply don't want help and they've refused any services. But I think it speaks volumes to how we all came together. Our mayor, board, police department, Department of Public Works, and then the social service agencies that you've already mentioned, kind of come together to help make this happen. I can't stress enough that from our perspective, and I've seen it in Dan Hanley's men and women that were working down there, and I know our folks that are involved are handling this in a humane fashion as possible. We're treating people with absolute dignity and respect. I think that's important. I think that is part of why we've been successful to this point. Also, like to just call out one of our folks, and that's Lieutenant Holly Ayers, who has really been the person that's pulling all the different pieces together. And I know that she cares deeply about this process and about how what we're doing is having an effect on people. But as stated, we are helping people. What is taking place is, I think, maybe a hand out to people to help them up. And some people is needed. So I say to this point, we've been pretty successful. I think we keep moving on in the same fashion. This at the end will be a very good thing for everybody involved.
So that's my update. I wanted to give the update to the board. Is there any questions or concerns? I think it's moving along pretty well, and the public will have an opportunity to comment on this when we're, have a public comment opportunity. But I think I like the direction that everything is going. I still believe, and I truly have the county talking about this now, which is, I think, wonderful, because I believe that there has to be a coordinator that can work and work with all parties together and make this to where we can help our unsheltered people. People that need help, we want to help. But I think we duplicate so many darn services that I think it's, it just doesn't give anyone the direction that they need. And I think that this has stimulated some talks. We're trying our best to help. We've been able to take care of some issues that, as I think everyone saw, the littering, the defecation that's going on the extension of our parks. It was just too much. It became a huge health issue for our community and across the country. Quite frankly, there's other issues associated with this. And as mayor of the town, that's one of the things that the folks elected me for, is the health and well-being of our community, as well as everyone else sitting here on this board. So we take it pretty serious. So with that, I think those two presentations, I got off on a little checklist there. And the last thing I wanted to mention to the board is we have a workshop for next Wednesday, but we have nothing on the agenda, so I'd like to ask the board if we could eliminate that workshop next Wednesday. You're thinking? All right, no workshop next Wednesday. You okay with that, Gene?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Gene, you are on.
I have nothing.
Charles?
I have nothing other than to say that I saw a lot of that in the process, and certainly to this point, this is very positive. I think you've uprooted a lot of people and put the onus on them to improve themselves, and that certainly has happened, indicated by some of the results that the chief has mentioned. That's it.
Pretty much covers for the home and the rec center, so I have nothing.
Very good. This is the time of the meeting that we open up the floor for anyone that has any public comment. Please come up one at a time. Go right up there and sit down and state your name and address, and we'll listen to your comments.
My name is Michael Moore. I'm a homeless man in your town. If I see them pictures, I can understand.
You're talking at Mike, if you will, please.
My name is Michael Miller. I'm a homeless man in your town. I've been here since December 7th. Seeing them pictures, I can understand why you took the drastic measures that you did. Not all homeless people are out there trashing the place. There are camps that people do take care of it, you know, or clean it up more than trashing it. I can speak for my camp.
Okay.
You haven't put any postings yet. It's kind of hard talking for everybody now that I've seen the pictures. But yeah, there are people like, I'm 46 years old. I dropped out of school, but I made my way. I took custody of my son when he was 5 months old. I applied for custody. I won. I raised my kid. I was proud in the community. You know, I worked. I had good jobs. I worked for a shipyard. I did concrete. I laid brick and block. I worked for a property manager up until December 7th. I was living under his, you know, in one of his condos. I didn't get put on the lease because I was out working to make money to pay the bills.
Understand.
And he kept telling me he's going to put me on the lease. I worked for him for 2.5 years. My roommates had a child. She turned 2 years old. We had a 2-bedroom. There was not enough room for us. So I was going to take her to a condo. They were in a place of their own. You know, the mother, father, and baby. Well, because they turned their keys in on December 7th, our lease wasn't up till December 31st. He went in the house and took everything out, all my stuff, and the young lady that was living there. Now I lost my job, I lost everything that I owned, and I lost my house. I was out here. For some reason, God put me out here.
Mike, where are you originally from?
I'm originally from Baltimore City.
Mm-hmm.
I was born and raised
Mm-hmm.
down in Baltimore. You know, I had problems growing up, drugs, just like any other teenager that's
Say
in
any of
Baltimore.
us here.
You know, but I overcame all that. I raised my son. He's 23. He's done a year of college. You know, and he's a good kid. You know, I had help. My mother helped me, but you know, I was there. I took responsibility for, you know, my child. His mother was on drugs. She didn't want to get off. I got off drugs. I did the right thing. You know, now I'm homeless. You know, I don't want to be homeless. Just like anybody other homeless, you know, person don't want to be homeless. It's all about survival now. You know, I'm not out here to trash your county. I'm out here to help. You know, today I helped a person move. They moved in that old age home on Main Street. That's why I'm, you know, cleaned up. But I try to help people. You know, I've done dirt in the past. You know, I've done the wrong things, and I've overcome all that. And today I try to help people as much as I can. You know, we lived at the pond back at the beginning of the summer. There was a fire or something, and we all got evicted from there. But a person of the police force came back and seen our camp, and he's like, "This is immaculate." He's like, "If I had it my way, you wouldn't have to leave." There's no reason to mention any names or rank or anything. But he was surprised with how clean we kept it. You know, we're not on drugs. We're not out there drinking, tearing the place up, you know. We're just trying to survive and get back into society where we belong. And,
Have you applied for any work here? I mean, any
I've been working on the side, you know, people. There's really nothing out here for me to do. I was going to apply for a property manager, but he's never in the office. No, that's, you know, because that's my previous job.
Okay.
Right now I got arthritis, and I was supposed to get a hip replacement 2 years ago. I'm 46 years old. They say it lasts 15 years, depending on how active you are. I might not be able to, in good enough shape 15 years from now to get another hip replacement, so I'm putting it off. And I just found out I had arthritis all over my back, rheumatoid. And then, you know, I wake up in the morning and I'm in pain. Being out in the cold, damp, wet, I'm in pain, you know, and I applied for disability. I received disability when I was 32 years old for life. I had to have my lung removed. I gave it up to go back to work because I was young. I didn't want to live off the state. I wanted to do the right thing. I wanted to get out there. Circumstances put me in this, you know, where I got arthritis now. And, you know, I've laid brick and block for years, being out in the cold. I imagine that's why I got it. I don't know. But I have it, and I'm dealing with it. You know,
Have you reached out to any of the organizations to try to?
Mary Randall is helping me.
Okay.
Like I said, I haven't been here long.
Okay.
I'm still learning the area, you know, learning the resources, and they work with me every day. You know, they're helping me. Thank God, you know, because where would I be? I mean, God put me here for a reason. You know, I eat every day. You know.
Is there any family that could put you up, or?
No, I have family. They're all down in Baltimore.
Okay.
They all have their, you know, their children. My
Okay.
mother and father, they split up. My mother just got over breast cancer. My stepfather, he's dealing with lung cancer. It's treatable but not curable. So they're, you know, they're living off a little bit of money that they have, and my son lives with them to help them. You know, I can't live there. I don't get along that well with my father.
And
I'm sorry to say.
Camp, where are you now?
I'm up Fire Creek, not the part that just got cleaned out. I'm on the other side of the fence. The state owns it. No, the town doesn't own that part. On the other side of the fire, we got pictures, me and a neighbor of mine, that we got pictures of our creek. And I'll be glad to go up there and show you where I live.
Well, I would say to you that the only thing we're gonna be enforcing is town of Elkton properties.
Yes, sir, that's what I was told.
I think that we made that very clear, we're gonna clear our parks, and, you know, I wish I could get here and say, hey, listen, I can help you get a job tomorrow and put you in a house tomorrow. I'm gonna lean on, our organizations to help you, try to get in there, but what we can, there is a lot of places looking for people today. Amazon is begging for people right now.
What with my friends, am I gonna be able to deal with it, or are they just gonna fire me, you know? I mean, it takes me a long time to get up and get motivated.
I hear you.
I would love to have that job. I hear it's got great benefits, everything.
It's a great position, but I just don't know, it won't
And it's
happen.
not like I don't want to work, because I love to work. I don't want to sit home and do nothing, or sit in my camp and do nothing. I want to be out there and active and you know.
Well, listen, I appreciate your
You're a
comments
productive person in
and
this
coming to us,
society.
and we,
Like disability had told me, they sent me a letter, that I am disabled. But due to my age and my education, which I don't really have an education, I made it to the 8th grade, like I told you, I dropped out. But I was in special classes because I was a hyper kid. I had ADHD or whatever, and my father refused to put me on medication. So I felt not good enough, and I wasn't as smart enough as the other kids because I wasn't learning as quick as they were. They were more advanced than me, and that made me feel like I was, you know, I was ashamed. So I quit school. But I went out and I got a job. I worked for shipyards. I was 16 years old. I became a rigger, making decent money. From that, I drove a truck. I worked for the CIA building. Well, I worked for a company that worked on the CIA building. I worked there for 4.5 years doing high-rise concrete work on the structure of the building. I've had good jobs, you know, but due to circumstances down in Edgewood, I found myself homeless, and I was here doing a side job to make money so I could take over the apartment. And I'm here. But anyway, enough about me. The homeless, everybody is not like that. I'm sure there are people that don't care.
would you stay in a shelter?
I did. I stayed at Mary Reynolds when they were open. Of course I would.
Okay.
I'm not a drug addict. I'm not an alcoholic. Sure, I like to have a beer every now and again. But you have these halfway houses that you have to have, you know, that's a reason for the halfway house. They're for the people that are using drugs, abusing drugs and alcohol. I'm not one of them. So I don't, you know, that's not my area, you know, I'm not, and there is no other shelters out here. Mary Randall's not a shelter. There's a place where you can go eat, shower. They help you with like job searches, if you want to with your resume. You know, they point you in the right way. They try to help you get your ID if you don't have it, social security card, things like that. But it's not a shelter. It's not zoned to be a shelter.
But it hasn't worked for you.
It is working.
Oh, it is?
It is helping. I come up here, I had nothing.
Oh, no, I know since you've been here in Cecil County.
Yes, ma'am. They helped me get an ID. They helped me get my
Oh,
birth
okay,
certificate.
good.
They're helping me, you know, with my disability thing. I was,
No, you haven't got your disability yet.
no, they told me that I am disabled, due to my age, I can find another job, which is true. What can I do? I don't know. I can't go be a banker.
Right.
I can go graduate, you know. I've done construction all my life.
Mhm.
Can my body handle that? No. I wish you could, because I wouldn't be sitting here right now.
Oh,
Well, thank you for
Well,
coming
yeah.
in.
I mean, we have
Can I
resources.
just say a few more things about the homeless?
Yeah, go ahead.
These camps, I understand why you did what you did. Everybody's not that way, and I'm sorry it got that way. I understand your point by looking at that. But amongst the people that made that trash, there are good people.
There's no
We
question.
know that.
And, you know, they're reaching out, they're trying to do the right thing, you know, and by like shooting them out, they're running everywhere, they're going different places. The ones that want help and the ones that don't want help are mixed. They're going to go to the same place, different places. It's going to be the same way because the people that don't care are going to keep doing this kind of stuff. The people that do care. Me, I don't know how many out here. I don't know half the people out here. I never knew these camps were like this. I knew they were there, but I've never been in them. You know, it's ridiculous to do that. I understand your point, but how do you take the ones that don't care and the ones that do care and separate them? You know, to solve the problem. It's not solving it by kicking them out and doing the things that have been done. There's no way you can separate them because they're all out there on the street together. There's got to be a way that the people that are out there to survive and do the right thing and try to get their life together, and the ones that are just out there running amok. You know, I'm at a loss at this point. You know,
No, I think, listen, it's a problem we have all across the country, and,
Right.
and it is a challenge. And if we could find, I totally, I will tell you, I don't agree with the camps being on town of Elkton property.
I understand that. Where do you want them to be?
Where could we find
They're
public
close.
property or private property that we could put, work as a team and find an area that we could put, this is what we're truly
I understand that.
driving toward that direction. And I sincerely mean that. But today, it is a challenge. And, you know, that's why I ask questions about, do you have some family? We'd be happy to take you
I
back
have
to
a
your
great
family.
family. I was raised Episcopalian. I served often. I was, you know, raised good. Got good
Yes.
great parents that taught me the right thing. You know, that's not why I'm homeless. I'm homeless, and if they could help me in any way, they would. They have their own struggles.
Yeah.
I don't want to burden them with me. I'm 46 years old. I need to make it my way. I don't need to rely on my parents. My mother's 63. She just got over breast cancer. She's dealing with her husband with bone cancer. My father, he's helping my sister. You know, she's got 2 kids, single mother. They all live in the house together. You know, 2-bedroom. They're helping each other so they can survive. You know, my father's older, and you know, he don't get a whole lot of pension. He worked for a place called Lock Insulator. He gets pension from that. And then he was a master carpenter. He made office furniture, built office furniture and all. And he gets like $1,200, $1,500.
Well,
But
listen,
the way things are today, it's kind of hard to.
I hear you loud and
They
clear.
can't help me, in other words, but I'm here, and there's got to be a way that
Well,
we can all get along, because this just ain't working. They're going to bounce from one place to the next. And we've never had any problem up Fire Creek. There's been a couple overdoses. The day that everybody was underneath the bridge, we never had no overdoses up there. Now they're up there. You know, we don't want that in our camp. But where else are these people going? We're opening our, you know, hands up and trying to help these people so they can have a place to lay their head at night. Do we like the overdoses? No. Can we control it? No. But does it make us look bad? Yes.
I understand.
And you're just going to chase them from one place to the next.
Yep.
There needs to be something done to weed out the ones that are trying to do the right thing, and the ones that aren't trying to do the right thing, weed them out and send them on their way. Because we're all not like that. And,
Very good. Well, thank you for your comments.
I mean, thank you for your time, and I hope I made some sense. And
You did.
Maybe
Thank
we
you.
can try to solve this homeless thing.
Thank you.
Because this just isn't working. And I appreciate it.
Thank you. Who else we have coming up? Come on down. Please state your name and address, please.
Good evening. My name is Mike Piscotti. I'm homeless. Address right now is 401 North Street, which is the Mary Randall Shelter. While I'm speaking, I'd like to hand this is our camp. These are pictures that I took tonight. You just scroll left, and you'll see.
Just go to the left.
Yes, ma'am, keep scrolling to the left, and you can see pictures. That's how we keep our camp, okay? If there's a problem, we don't have a council like this, but we all get together. If there's a problem, we solve it. Your tent comes down, you're out of here. No drugs, no dealing, no alcohol, no fight. And when you see the pictures, you'll see. Okay. I'm a truck driver. My wife and I lived in our truck for 24 years, going cross country. We took a job with some guy in Jacksonville, Florida. Got in his truck and it broke down in 272. I called him, he said he's not fixing the truck. So now I'm homeless and jobless all at the same time. Now we've been here since March. If it wasn't for the facilities that you people have here, the Parish Foundation, Mary Randall Shelter, my wife and I would have been at a loss. Because we had, thank you, we had no idea what to do. And these places have helped me tremendously. They helped me get my license straightened out. I leave Saturday morning to go to Nashville, Tennessee. I got a job there. So my wife will be following me 2 weeks later. As far as, I was appalled at those trash pictures, appalled. Because you see how we keep our camp. Okay, that's from years and years of abuse. Has to be. Can't be one summer.
Actually, it was one summer.
Really?
It was one summer. It was,
Atrocious.
It's just a continuous.
Right, right. So, that's, you know, we try to keep our camp clean, quiet, you know, whatever. But, like I said, well, I'm leaving. But I'm here to speak for the other homeless people. Because they do need help. We're not all here because we want to be here. You know, we were forced here, my wife and I, we were forced here. And I just wanted to say I appreciate the facilities that your town has. Because if it wasn't for that, we'd be at a loss. And
thank you.
that's all I got to say.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else have anything to say this evening? Seeing none? Oh, go on down. Gonna jump up quick or I adjourn the meeting.
My name's Nick Rolison, and I guess my address would be 401 North Street as well. I wasn't even planning on speaking. I didn't even know about this meeting until about an hour prior. But after listening, so I'm homeless for it's my own fault. You know, I know what's right and wrong, and made a lot of, you know, wrong choices. So, not anybody else's fault, not the town of Elkton's fault. And yeah, the trash and, you know, the stealing from the stores and all that. Totally get it, understand, and, you know, you guys are doing the right thing, and probably the only thing, you know, like what to do about it. My biggest thing is work. Like, so like I said, I'm in this position because of, you know, for no one else but myself. But I'm here now, and it's the first time I ever.
Where are you originally from?
Rosington. Yeah, I've been in Cecil County my whole life, and I really just became homeless, you know, a few months ago. And so now I'm like stuck. Like I've had a vehicle since, you know, I was old enough to drive, and I realize how hard it is now to do anything without your own transportation. And so at the beginning of this little adventure of being homelessness, I was still, you know, I was really looking for a job and, you know, to get out of my situation. But then I started finding these obstacles that would, you know, come up, and it's like, all right, so if I don't find a job in town, how am I going to get to it? And then it's like, you know, I guess you have public transportation, but I've never really done that. And I mean, it can't be that hard. And honestly, I started losing focus and, you know, my determination, all that started going away when, you know, all these new obstacles came up. I never going to find a job. So, you know, I started slipping up and doing, you know, wrong things, which isn't hard when you're homeless in Elkton. But really what I wanted to say up here, after hearing you guys talk, is like, how can we fix the situation? Because it's like, I pretty much know everybody. My personality, it didn't take me long to meet everybody on these streets, but it's like, you have the people that don't mind it, it seems like. You have the people that just don't care, you know, like being homeless and living their lifestyle. And some of them are the ones trashing the place, the other ones, you know, get their disability check or whatever, and would either can't afford their own place, or rather spend it on other things and are content being in a tent in the woods. I'm not, so that's why I'm trying to get out of it. But I was thinking, and you guys said halfway house. You know, I was in one earlier this year. I went to rehab, got out, and was doing really well. And then, you know, for my own reasons and whatnot, I'm not there anymore. I'm out in the tent. But it'd be, and I know it costs money and, you know, resources, and I'm not sure how it could be profitable, but if there could be something like in between, like a shelter and a halfway house, to where, you know, people had a place to go that would maybe help them with things like transportation to and from work, and give them like an opportunity, maybe like a grace period, so to speak, to start working, get income, and then start paying their way. But I mean, I just know for myself, and probably a lot of other people that are homeless that don't want to be and are capable of working, I mean, that would be a huge help. Like I said, if you don't work, if you can't find a job in town, it's like, where, you know, how do you do that? And then, you know, maybe the bus doesn't take you there, you know, near a place of work. Because also another thing is, it's like, so I get a job, and then, you know, I'm not going to start out making that much. I mean, yeah, I've had decent jobs in the past, but that's in the past. So right now, I would do anything right now just to earn some income. But then it's like, I could go get an efficiency, or, you know, like a, for example, like the West End Gardens or the Steele's Motel, which would be a roof over my head, but then that's about 300 hours a week. So how do you save up for, you know, getting a vehicle, or saving up for anything, you know, to get a decent place to live? And then it got me thinking, well, man, maybe I should just stay in a tent, save up, and get a, you know, car, and I'll just sleep in it for a while. And it'd be a safe place to lock my things up as well. And, you know, I wouldn't have that rent, so to speak, so I could save that money and then get a place. But it's like, it's tough.
And do you have any family members in Rising Sun?
I do. So, just real short in a nutshell, my mom passed in 2012, and when that happened, I didn't really have a good relationship with my father, so that's not even really an option. We actually tried that earlier this year, and it didn't last long staying there. And then my sister, she would let me stay, but she's in her clinicals for nursing, has 3 kids. Her husband's actually a Maryland State detective. Some of you guys may know him. But being out there, like, I even have another family. It comes back to that transportation thing. And it's even worse in Rising Sun, because it's not as built up as this. It's like I couldn't even walk anywhere for work. There's no bus stations, you know? So it's like, have a place to stay inside, you know, with family that cares about me, and then kind of be stuck, so to speak. Because between, and really that's my only family I'd be able to stay with, really. It's her, everyone else is in Baltimore. But yeah, like I said, I'd be stuck. I'd have a nice place to stay, clean, you know. But then how would I leave there? Like, where I go from there?
Yeah.
So how did you get from Rising Sun to Elkton? You could have been Rising Sun to Prairieville, Rising Sun to Northeast, because this is Cecil County. So how did you get originally from there to Elkton?
Elkton was from, I went to the Whitson Center, which is a drug rehabilitation center, and I went straight from there to a rehab, a halfway house on North Street. It's called Solutions, and I chose that because I chose that because of its location, honestly. I'm also on probation from some trouble I got myself into about 2 years ago. And I figured and I say the location because for one, my probation is in walking distance. My previous job, he lives on Red Toad Road and comes by, and it's just Chesapeake City. So he comes up and makes a right off of 40 on 213. So I planned that while I was in rehab to where when I got out, I could get that job back and I could possibly, either Wild Road Farms is in walking distance to get picked up for work. Walk the probation, and if that job didn't come through, I figured I had more options up here than somewhere else. And it was familiar with me, because Elkton, Pasadena, or, wherever the other places were that they offered.
Okay. Well, listen, we certainly appreciate your comments.
You do. And you are aware about the bus, right? The transit?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, I need to go with
I
that.
sounded like you probably already knew about that.
Well,
Because they go all the way over to Newark, don't they?
I believe so, at least Glasgow.
Something like that.
And And honestly, the past about 2 months, I really, strayed off the path I was on, because I was really doing well. And I went to see my probation officer last Monday, and he immediately could tell, I had been slipping. And so I'm really gonna start getting on that. As of last Monday, I started doing what I needed to a little bit more. Like I said, I lost that determination. But honestly, I didn't want to really get into everything about me, and I wanted to keep it short. It was like the halfway, when you guys brought up the shelter and whatnot, it just made me think about people that are in my position and don't want to be out there, but just need a little help because, and whether it's their fault or not, they're in this position and might need a little help getting out of it. So if they're willing to and show that, I figured that might be something to look into, because the shelter, I don't know how they work. I figured just a place to stay and you leave. My halfway house is $150 a week, and then there's another place to stay or whatnot, but right away, somebody might not be able to afford that. But they're showing the determination, and it was just an idea to throw out there. It could be a big help, and it would help the
You
town as well.
educated us a little bit, all three of you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I appreciate your time, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, is there anyone else has anything else to say this evening? Seeing none, meeting adjourned.